now. So just starting the stream up now. And, I didn't intend to stream today, but I just watched the new announcement. And, I should really be anticipating this because something always happens on one of these big announcements. And I thought it'd be cool to do a little bit of streaming. So I'm just going to get the chat window up and running and see if anyone's going to join in. So this live stream really going to be about my notes more than anything. Hello, Mike. Thanks for joining in. Just let me know in the chat whether this is all working correctly. The audio looks good. And, I'm going to be making some notes. Okay, so I didn't intend to do this, right? I did not. This is why it's such an impromptu stream. I'm going to stream tomorrow as well. But I just thought, let's do a little bit of note taking. So I've got my notes here. And what I'm going to do is make this a little bit bigger. So yeah, thanks for joining in. I'm going to make this larger. So we're going to make some notes about what has happened. Okay, so I think the big piece of news is basically the fact that, of course, we have a whole multitude of M4 Macs that have now been released. Of course, we have all three chipsets now, so the base M4, the M4 Pro, and the M4 Max. We have the hardware lineup, which includes the Mac Mini, the iMac, and the MacBook Pro, and we are waiting on, I guess, the MacBook Air and the Mac Studio. Presumably, the MacBook Air is going to have the base M4 chip. Now with the upgraded 16 gigabytes of RAM as a minimum now, which I'll be talking about in a minute. And we're also waiting for, of course, the Mac Pro and the Mac Studio with the M4 Ultra as well. So I'm glad for everyone to join me today. I did not intend to do a stream today, but I just thought it would be quite fun if I could do one today just to gather my thoughts a little bit, because what I'm going to do is, of course, make a video about this announcement. I didn't intend to make a video because I just thought this is just going to be the same stuff as always. And but I think that this does warrant some kind of response. I just want to, put some of this stuff out there so that I can have a think about what's going on. And I'm going to make some notes here on my screen as well. So I'm just getting my OBS window up so I can see correctly. And let me see, I want to lock the preview. So I'm going to make this bigger. See on screen now. Whoop. Okay, that looks so ugly. Why does that look like that? Let's make the font, instead of scaling it, let's make the font bigger. All right. Let's make the font bigger and then we'll scale this smaller. Okay. So I'm going to be making some notes. Okay. Big piece of news, of course, is the fact that Cyberpunk 2077, that's obviously huge, right? The fact that we have an announcement for Cyberpunk 2077. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the footage over that I've got ready. Let me get my footage up so people can actually see what's going on, and then I'm going to respond to chat. Okay, so let me get my recordings up. I'm actually going to remove my I'm going to remove my notes for a moment, and then let's look at our announcement videos. So basically, the one that I've just looked at is the MacBook Pro announcement. I want to look at the one which is the big one. Yeah, so this is the big one. Let's open up using, what am I using? VLC? Yeah, VLC. VLC is open it up. Let's turn the volume down a little bit so it doesn't get crazy. Volume down. And then what we've got is basically, what we're looking at is about the 11-minute mark, I think. So I just watched this. I had to drop off my kid, my daughter, at her play date. So that's a thing. But we all knew Assassin's Creed Shadows was coming out. But the big deal, I suppose, is the fact that, number one, we have Cyberpunk 2077 coming out on Mac. So if I just play this with a bit of sound up, see if people can hear it. Let's play this back for people. So it's a big deal. We've got like path tracing, ray tracing, etc. Okay, let's pause that. So that's the bit. That's the Cyberpunk bit that I'm looking at. Okay, does the M4 have AV1 hardware decoding? Don't know actually. I'm torn between the M4 Pro, Mac Mini, da da da. There's the new regions updates. Okay, I'm looking through chat, and what I really want is trying to focus. I'm going to try and focus the discussion a little bit. Okay, so the number one piece of news I think that's happened is the fact that we have some AAA games that have come out, right? So what they said was that Cyberpunk 2077 would be coming out early next year. Let me just find that bit again. Early next year. And of course, we have the announcement that Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to come out simultaneously. Ever since the last WWDC, all of that stuff about Assassin's Creed Shadows become completely out of date, of course. That's coming out in February, but I think people are not very excited about that anymore. I don't think Cyberpunk is going to be played by Steam, but I could be proven wrong. Lots of Apple featured games are released on Steam. So, for example, the game No Man's Sky is supposed to be coming out on iPad and the App Store ecosystem on the Apple side, but still remains a Steam-only title. And lots of games have their Mac port published on Steam as well as on the Mac App Store. So it wouldn't surprise me, given that Cyberpunk is owned by CD Projekt Red, which is affiliated heavily with GOG.com or Good Old Games, then it's very likely that we're going to see some kind of simultaneous release on Windows. So I definitely think that this is on Steam anyway. So I would expect the Steam release to not only include the Windows version but the macOS version. I really expect that coming from CD Projekt Red, especially because there are other games on the platform, for example, Witcher 1, Witcher 2, also have Mac ports which were recently updated to work on Apple Silicon Macs. The ports aren't great, but they do work. And the thing is that as a company, I think that CD Projekt Red would probably want to publish the Mac port on GOG.com as well as a DRM-free download and purchase. So I would expect Cyberpunk 2077 to come out on Steam as well as the App Store. So that's something that I would expect to happen. What I also found interesting as well was that there were a couple of other games on this list which came up for like a brief millisecond. So just gonna try and find it now. Just try and gather my thoughts on this. Okay, the other thing that keeping on Cyberpunk 2077 is quite exciting. One thing that they did mention is that this game is going to have frame generation. Okay, so they listed a bunch of features out loud. Let me just get my notes up. Yeah. It's going to support ray tracing, it's going to support path tracing, it's going to support spatial audio, and it's going to support frame generation. So please correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Is this the first macOS title to support frame generation? Does that mean that, I'm assuming that if Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to the Mac, then that means that they're going to employ the full suite of Metal graphics API architecture features. So, for example, Metal FX. And so, what are they going to call? What's the Apple way of calling frame generation? So we've been talking about frame generation quite a lot as an idea. So the AMD implementation is open source, and a lot of people believe that the version of that Metal FX is based upon AMD's open source implementation. So that means that this is the first Metal FX game, right? Am I crazy? Is this the first? Sorry, not Metal FX, Metal frame generation. So maybe they'll call it like Metal FG or something like that. They haven't branded it properly yet. It'd be interesting to know what they call it, because that's like Apple like to name things, crazy things for themselves. Normal things which are normal by most standards have a standardized name, but they've got to have an Apple twist on it. So frame generation, they're going to call it like Metal FG or something like that. That's what I expect it to happen. Yeah. I'm very Gilham, I'm very aware that Cyberpunk just got announced for the Mac. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So, is Metal FX and Metal Frame Generation is what they're going to call it? What's the name? Just making some notes now on my notepad. What they're going to call it? And yeah, so I think this is the first game. Chat, if you confirming with me now, I think I'm almost certain it's the first game with frame generation. Now, personally, I've not been that impressed by frame generation on a lot of my devices. It's not meant to be like a stopgap, a shortcut for efficient translation. So Thomas McGee Clip Dump, great YouTube channel name. It's not meant to be a shortcut. You're not meant to be able to go, oh yeah, let's just double the frame rate from going from 20 to 40 FPS. Because frame generation doesn't improve doesn't improve input latency. So your inputs will only be able to react to the natively created frames in the game. The ones that created by the graphics API, the frame generation API, will add latency, in fact, right? So it's really better for taking like a 60 FPS game to 120 FPS, something that already feels really responsive. And there are plenty of bugs that go with it too. So if it's not implemented correctly, you can get like ghosting or something similar to like temporal aliasing. It makes the game look worse in a lot of ways, even though you're getting like double the number of frames. So it's not necessarily like the best. It's not necessarily the best feature to have, but it's very interesting to see that we're getting like a really high-end game running metal frame generation. That's what I'm gonna call it now. I'm more certain. Okay, so frame generation, that's a huge thing. Cyberpunk 2077, that's a huge thing. And I'm just going to try and find the frame. There's like a frame in here which has the latest announced games. So I'm just going to, here we are. Ooh, back. Ugh, how do you get it to go? How do you get VLC to go back a frame? Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is the list of, okay, so that's point number one. Cyberpunk 2077 native on Mac. Number two, Metal Frame Generation is out. Number three, there are a bunch of games here which I haven't seen before. Okay, so Songs of Conquest, that's already out. Prince of Persia, we know that's coming out. It's just had an App Store release. Didn't know about Farming Simulator 25. I'm pretty certain that probably got announced already. Robocop's coming out. Frostpunk 2 is already out. So yeah, whatever. Shadows is coming out February 14th next year. Sniper Elite 4, that's a really old game now. Wuthering Waves, big gacha game similar to Genshin Impact, that's going to come out soon. War Within from World of Warcraft, that's already out on macOS. Civ 7, so we got some footage of that running on the iMac release. So that's quite interesting. We kind of knew this was going to come out. All the Civ games, modern Civ games have been coming out lately. Dead Island 2, that Mac Pro Tips managed to get that working on an Apple Silicon Mac through Crossover recently. But it's getting a native port. Control, we've been playing the Windows version on a Macs for a long time. Pools came out ages ago. That's like a first-person puzzle game. That came out a long time ago. Resident Evil 2, we're very well aware of. That's coming out December this year. So there are two games on the list here which I'm not familiar with. So the first one is called Infinity Nikki. And I think this is some kind of live service game, like a Chinese or Japanese live service game, as well as Where Winds Meet as well. I think this is also like an actiony. What is it? Wrong keyboard. Winds Meet. What is this about? Where Winds Meet is some kind of action RPG set in China. So it's a NetEase game, okay, and it's meant to be released in 2025. So this is going to come soon, I guess. And then what is Infinity Nikki? Okay, what is Infinity Nikki? Okay, so this is another. I think this is what is this? What is this all about? An open world game. This feels like a gacha game. Does anyone know what Infinity Nikki is? If anyone knows what Infinity Nikki is, that would be helpful to understand what this is. I mean, there's crazy numbers. What does this mean? 26 million global pre-registrations. Is an RPG platformer? Okay. You can tell from the currencies here, it's some kind of quite predatory something, or rather, where you have to buy loads of different currencies in order to get some gacha like nonsense, basically. So yeah, I think this is a good sign. Okay, basically, what the Mac is really missing. What does otome game mean? What's a gacha otome game? What does that mean? Okay, Infinity Nikki is a GF simulation premium, girlfriend simulation premium. Okay, okay. Well, I'll be sure. I'll be sure to investigate sooner or later. Okay. If they are both like live set, this is quite cool. Like Wuthering Waves and Infinity Nikki and Where Winds Meet, if they're live service type games, this is what the Mac desperately needs, because that's where the most users are and where most users are actually spending money, even though personally I don't really care about these games very much. Gacha otome game like Genshin Impact. Okay, it's probably like, it's like a phone game. Gotcha games. Yeah, it is like a gotcha game. So I've got Civ 7, Infinity Nikki, and Where Winds Meet. Okay, so those are the games that are coming out. So that's really exciting. I think that's really cool. Otome games are dating games targeted usually towards women. Okay. I've never heard of this. So is it like a visual novel, or is it for women? Is that what it is? When I went to Taiwan recently, I just saw loads of people playing either gacha games or idle games. I saw a lot of in East Asia, right? If you go into a shopping mall or an office building or somebody's like condo, there's going to be like an old security guard there in their 50s or 60s or something, and then they're just staring at their phone all day. And very few of them are like watching videos. They're all playing a game, or some kind of live service crap game, watching like 100 idle animations happening, and their numbers like jumping up and down. I see that all the time. I think it's very popular in a lot of places. I'm not sure how good it would be on a desktop. Maybe when you're on a desktop computer like a Mac, do you want to play something a bit more engaging? But I think that it overall it's really good. The problem with a lot of these games, right? Like Control, for example. So Apple have really courted a lot of like big single player games. So all the Resident Evil games, right? They're quite limited in like replayability. You play Resident Evil 4. Okay, that's a bad example, right? Resident Evil 7, for example, you play it once. You're not going to play it 5 more times. You're going to play it for like 10 hours or something, 15 hours, and then that's it, right? It ends. And then the port is kind of like wasted, because only a certain number of people will spend a certain number of hours playing that game. But with live service games, these games like continue forever, and they're a continual source of revenue. That's why developers and publishers love making these games. And the fact is that there's going to be, in terms of like platform gaming impact, a live service game is going to be way more impactful than these, having more single player games. Like, I don't think anyone's going to give a crap if Sniper Elite 4 comes out on a Mac. Anyone who wanted to play Sniper Elite 4 has already played it, or dozens of other single player campaigns like it. It's not something particularly exciting. Same with the Lost Crown, Prince of Persia. Same with most of these games, to be honest, right? It's really the live service, like a semi-multiplayer, online engaged versions, which are going to be quite interesting. Okay, so I've talked about games. Let's talk about the Macs. Okay, so let's go to the Macs. Okay, MacBook Pro. Okay, let's go look at it. Look at this crap now. Not the Taiwan one. Not the Taiwan one. Oh. Apple.com. Let's go UK. Let's go to British. Let's go to British. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make a pre-order of these. Yes, thanks, Mystical Earth. I am live. That's why I stopped replying to your messages. Okay, good. Let's have a look. So I'm gonna pre-order. Okay, let me get my notes up. Okay, I've got my notes. Let me just see. Let me go to my block previews. I can move this. I need to move this around so I can actually. Oh, where should I put it? I'll put it here. Maybe this guy needs like a little bit of a background, so we can actually see. Okay, so let's just edit this text. Okay. So these are just, I'm just gathering my thoughts. This is more for me than for you, okay? Okay, so we've got Cyberpunk announced. Mac announced. Okay, we've got, let me move this bad boy around. We have it's the first Metal Frame generation game. Yes. Yes. Okay, let me think. Okay, so I guess the sub points that I'm going to be talking about here are really that the Cyberpunk is, will it, you know, it's a Steam based. Steam, probably. Okay, probably. What else we got? First frame generation. Okay, new games. We have Infinity Nikki. Civ 7. We've got footage of, I mean, we all knew Civ 7 was coming out probably on Mac. We have footage of it on the iMac. Let me just iMac footage. Okay. And then what else we got? We've got what's the other game? What's the other game that we looked at? Oh, okay. So Pi Studios is saying that Cyberpunk's confirmed on Steam. Where is it confirmed? Okay, CDPR website. Check CDPR website. Okay, good. Okay, that's really good news then. Good. Yeah, we definitely need some proper multiplayer games, which was sorely lacking on the Mac. Let me just go back to my VLC. Move this out of the way. Let's go back to my VLC. Okay, what's the other game that was on the list? And this one called Where Winds Meet. Okay, so I think this goes here. My notes. These are my notes, okay? This is my notes because I'm gonna make a video later talking about this. And let me try and dock this here. Very good. What else we've got here? Okay, so I think the last thing, which is a big deal, right? Which is a much bigger deal than you might think, right? Is basically the fact that the new Macs, that I think the big deal is it kind of comes at the end of this video, right? Ugh, gotta move this smaller. I think the big deal is the fact that Apple are no longer selling 8GB Macs anymore. Like what does it say? Basically, the base models of all the Macs are now 16GB minimum. So we expected this for the M4 Pro generation, right? So M4, you can't buy a like they went back and then they fixed the problem with the MacBook Airs that they do sell right now, even the M2 chip. That's what they said. Let me check. Yeah, so this did used to say 8GB, and it used to be this cost, I think, £1,000 or $1,000, right? And that used to be 8GB of RAM, but they no longer sell 8GB machines anymore. 16 all the way across. Okay, and you know, I think that there's some goodwill here. That the fact is that there are no more 8GB machines, like, at all. So if I look at this, no more 8GB Apple Silicon Macs. And this is like a big deal. This is a big deal. Okay. Ugh. This is a big deal. Okay. Let me just make my notes a bit nicer. Okay. So yeah, so they don't sell 8GB Macs anymore. Like, You're saying like Pipoon, all right? Pipoon. Who buys Macs with 8 GB? The majority of Macs sold are the base model Macs. Almost all Macs sold are the, from the general population. They walk into an Apple store, they look at their selection, they look at the MacBook Air, they go to the customer service agent, and they say, "What's the cheapest MacBook laptop that I can buy?" And then they go to the MacBook Air, they open it up. Well, maybe they didn't even look at it, right? A lot of people didn't even look. And then they say, "What is the cheapest MacBook Air that I can buy? And what is in stock right now? So I can take it right now. I don't want to do any custom configurations, increase storage size, blah, blah, blah. I just want the cheapest one." And I would wager that the majority of Macs sold are MacBook Airs with 8 GB of RAM up until this point, right? So the fact that they've raised it to 16 GB means that it means a huge deal, because like it means that I no longer have, well, it means that the minimum, okay, it means that you can't buy a MacBook Air, you can't buy a Mac with 8 GB anymore. So that raises the platform completely. Okay, it means that developers can rely on the fact that there's more than 8 GB of RAM, because remember that this is unified memory, right? Let me get my notes up a bit more. Ugh. Okay, this is unified memory. Okay, so it's unified memory between, okay, you have to share it between macOS, the game, and the VRAM. Okay, so normally when you have like a Windows computer or a laptop or something, a cheapo laptop, you've got 16 GB of RAM. Even like a Steam Deck, you've got 16 GB of RAM. But then in addition, the GPU also has 4 GB of video memory as well. But the Mac doesn't have that. The Mac's got to squeeze everything into that 8 GB. The Mac OS, the stuff running in the background, the game itself, and the video memory as well. All the textures and everything have to be shoved in that 8 GB. And that's been one of the biggest like bugbears with this generation. That's one of the main things holding back this generation of Apple Silicon. It's basically the fact that you only have 8 GB of RAM. You have to kind of reduce your RAM usage quite substantially in order to get so that you have to, yeah. Does Steam Deck have unified memory? Don't even know. Steam Deck VRAM. How much VRAM does the Steam Deck have? 1 GB of VRAM. I mean, that's pretty big. Oh, is it shared? That's interesting. Okay. Only gaming dedicated GPUs have RAM exclusively for. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know that. Mystical OS. What holds iPhone gaming back the most? The iPhone SSD isn't terrible. It runs terrible because it has no memory. Yeah, memory and of course thermals as well. But anyway, the fact that the Steam Deck has 16 GB gives it all this headroom. So if you have 1 GB of VRAM, apparently this AI summary says that it will request for more VRAM if necessary. Okay, let me read chat a bit. I've kind of ignoring chat for a while. It's going to be interesting seeing what the reseller price models of the 8 GB in countries that don't have more Apple stores. Interesting. I think a lot of people are going to be happy with 8 GB. I'm going to be contrarian to most people on the internet. Most people are just happy with 8 GB. And I've done lots of work on 8 GB machines. But this is a relief now, because it means that from now on, in the future, I'm probably going to pick up when I pick up I might even go and buy an M2 MacBook Air with 16 GB of RAM, just to call this my new kind of floor, right? Because the M1 is now 4 years old. I did a whole dedicated video to gaming on the base M1 chip, and it's kind of enough. I don't really need to do. I've done so much work on this already. There's a very limited amount. M1's been a very fantastic machine. It is 4 years old now, so it's time to raise the floor a little bit. Get like use the M2 MacBook Air with 16 GB of RAM as like the base. So that's what all these developers should be targeting in terms of gaming. Because Cyberpunk 2077, even native Mac port of that game is never actually gonna run on an M1 properly. I mean, I've run it loads of times on my computer in the past. I did a video recently, which is just about that. This one, and let me see my Cyberpunk footage. I don't have Cyberpunk on it because it didn't even run properly. That's how bad it is. That's what we're talking about. So this is the kind of the deal. This is the deal with it, right? I think that's really exciting. Okay, so let me just make some notes. So the Steam Deck has 16 gig with 1 GB VRAM. Okay, good. So Jiho says, I don't think the Mac ray tracing performance is good enough to run CP2077 path tracing. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much experience running these games like with path tracing and stuff, so I don't really know what's happening with path tracing. I do feel like ray tracing features in general are not particularly interesting to me. They're just a bit, it's just a bit meh. But I wonder what frame generation will do, because if Mystical OS was talking to me about the potential for all of these new game cores, no, these AI, these machine learning cores, and then the Apple Silicon hardware, if these could have gaming applications, for example, to be used in the production of frames, then that could rival things like DLSS and hugely change the performance of Mac gaming. But Mac gaming, there is like a one of the concerns, of course, is performance, right? One of the big concerns is performance, which the Mac could have, but really the big problem is compatibility with games, right? So these Mac ports are very exciting because it just means that there are more games. There are more games coming out. I think that the fact that we have more live service, the fact that we have more the kind of live service type games is good news. I'm going to make a note of that. More live service. Type monetization. Okay. Why do you think that Apple has been lowering their prices the last few years, especially the base Mac Mini? Have they been lowering the prices? All I've ever seen is them raising it. But this year they've kind of effectively lowered the price a little bit, because by making the MacBook Airs the same price but doing a spec bump of the memory. Normally they would charge $200 for that, for the privilege of having 16 gigabytes of RAM. They still, I'm guessing, if I go into this configuration, they're still charging £200, which is way more than $200. £200 for increasing the MacBook Air M2. Let's just see. And then we have, let me see. Yes. Oh, okay. They start. What's good is that the M4. What's great is that this starts with a higher amount of storage. So they increased the storage too. Increased storage tier for MBPs, right? To 512 GB, which is nice. I didn't really notice this. Is that right, chat? That there's now an increased the tier went up. I don't really notice this that much. So this used to be 256, right? Am I being crazy here? That this used to be did you buy a 14-inch MacBook Pro with 256, or is it 512? Is that increased or not increased? I don't actually know. Am I going crazy here? Can you buy? Okay, can you buy a MacBook Air? Let me just see. Minus 200. Can you configure this with less RAM? Alice. I think Alice said that. No, you can't. You can't configure with less RAM. Adding memory storage is a bone of contention. Yeah. Yeah, the M3. I'll say I'm wrong here. They're already 512. I mean, yeah, I remember now. I remember now when I tested the M3 generation this year, nearly a year ago. I think a lot of people do just buy Macs whenever they need to. They don't really care about the latest and greatest at all, right? They just don't care at all. Let me just move this a bit. Move this out of the way. Can't see anything. Okay, good. Let me see. Okay, so one other thing that I want to get out of this live stream is I need to figure out what Macs to buy and test. Okay. Yo, is there anything other than Regix for Mac? Regix got downed. Somebody has started maintaining, one of the original team of Regix have started to maintain Regix once again. It's also possible to take advantage of the metal build of Regix. I will make a video of that in the future, but for now you can probably just download the last build before it got taken down, which still works pretty well. But anyway, let's not get too distracted. What I'm trying to figure out here is like, what am I supposed to test? Because I'm gonna write down. I'll write down what I've written already. I've got like a plan, right? I've got a plan, and let's just write the plan down and have a little think about it with chat, because I'm gonna make the purchases today, like in the next hour. I'll do my purchase. Okay, so of course I don't tend to buy Macs that much. I have 4 Macs already. I don't need more than four Macs in my life, really. And I don't really see the M4 generation as being substantially different. So for example, the M4 Max has the same number of GPU cores as my M3 Max. Of course, I'll compare the performance, but I don't really see it being that different. Okay, so I think what I care about the most are the MacBook Pros. So I'm just writing this down. You'll see this here, the MacBook Pro M4. So I'm going to get an base M4, which is this one here. No, that's not it. Let's go back. Yeah, base M4. So this will be with let me see, 16 GB, 10 CPU, 10 GPU. Okay, definitely going to get one of these, right? What's nice is that they all have, the base models all have 10 cores and 10 core GPUs. And then I'll look at the base M4 Pro. I also need to have it to be delivered on the 8th as well. So if I do any like funky configuration, then I won't be able to test on the day of release. Okay, then I'm going to grab a MacBook Pro M4 Pro with 12 core, okay, 24 GB, 12 CPU, 16 GPU. So I'll get one of these. And I also need a Max variant as well, okay? So I'm gonna get, okay, so there's only, oh, I'm looking at the 14-inch. So there's a 14-inch, 14-core, 32 GPU, but then the 16-inch, there's, if we go to M4 Max, this is the one that I have. Oh, holy moly, that's expensive. Okay, so can I get this for the 8th? Okay, good. So this one is the MacBook Pro M4 Max with 16, about 48 GB, 16 CPU, and 40 GPU. So this This is kind of like the higher end MacBook Pro. I think it's the highest end you can get. It's £4,000. Oh my god. So there's no option here to change the CPU. So it's the higher end one. So this is the higher end one. And then let me see, you've got this one. If I go to the Pro edition, 16-inch, are these the same? 24G. So here, so this one is different. So the M4 Pro 14-inch, right? 14-inch, you do have the 20-core option here, but here we've got 20-core GPU, 20-core GPU. So these have the same GPUs, they've just got different memory configurations and different SSDs. So the 14-inch is slightly different. So if I get a 16-inch, there's no option for the 16-inch to have a base M4, whereas the 14-inch, let me just find this. Okay, So the 14-inch, obviously you can get an M4 base, but the 16-inch is only restricted to M4 Pro and So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. Let me look at chat. Get the base and maxed out so we know the lower, higher performance. They told us 1 time to do better, which is precisely between 40, 60, But nice to compare if the performance upgrade between 12 to 16 is linear to 4. Which one's the 12 to 16 model? 12, 16. Yeah, so it's 12, 16, 12 CP. 12 core and 14 core. Ugh, I'm not sure I really want to be testing the difference. I mean, I do find the difference between these two MacBook Pros is probably very boring, right? This is not a very interesting test. I mean, in terms of the CPU probably won't have much difference between the 12 and 14 core. The GPU is going to make quite a big difference because what is that percentage increase? Hanley, thank you for joining the stream. I haven't seen you for a while. Okay, so I'm really bad at maths, so this is how I calculate stuff. What's the percentage increase from 16 to 20? 25%. So it's a substantial difference. That's normally what I would say. Yeah. If I have this 10 out of 10 to 10 10 core, 10 10, the 14 20, and the 16 20. Which one's the 1620? What's the 1620? What's the 1620? Is there a six? What's the 1620? Is there 1620? Oh, 1640, you mean? 1640. Why am I looking at M3s? This is the wrong page. 1640. What's the 1640? Okay, this is 1640. I think I'll get this one because I want to do a comparison between my current M3 Max, which is kind of like the maxed one out, the one that's maxed out. Yeah, I need to figure out. What's interesting is that they don't actually tell you how many cores, which is the efficiency cores and which are the performance cores. They don't tell you at this stage of the purchase price because I don't think people have that much. Okay, I just need to catch up with chat. Maybe I should buy Maybe I should buy 4 MacBook Pros. Is it worth it to upgrade from the 16-inch base model M3 MacBook Pro M3 to the M4 version? Probably. Depends on how much RAM you've got. I mean, if you have any Apple Silicon Mac that has only 8 gigabytes of RAM, you have to upgrade. You owe it to yourself to upgrade. For gaming or for productivity, it makes a big difference. Okay, you can click overview. Let me click on this. Oh yeah. It's under technical specs. Where is it? Where's the technical specs here? Does it say performance cores? This part eludes me a little bit. Is Cyberpunk coming to the M1 8GB model? I really doubt that it is. And even if it is coming, I really doubt it'll work on another thing. Okay, compare. Okay, let's look at compare. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. It is helpful. It doesn't tell you like what the efficiency cores are. Here we are. 10 core CPU with 4 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores. Ah, this tells us, okay, this tells us everything. Good. Okay, I'm gonna make this notes section smaller so I can actually read what I'm doing, but it means that it'd be hard to find stuff. Ugh. Yeah, let's put that there. Put this here, make this bigger. Now I can compare 3 models at a time. Now I can actually look properly. Okay, so I'm gonna look at M4 chip. And then we're looking at the let's do the 216 inches, okay? We want to be looking at the M4 Pro. So at the moment, the thing about this is that it just shows the up to scores. Here I want to be able to filter by. Well, it gives me an idea. There's a text tabs on the product page too. Tech. What does it say? Tech. Where does it say tech? Where does it say tech? So if I look at an actual model, where's the tech specs? Got an overview, which is the overview of all of the MacBook Pros, which is an extremely unhelpful marketing page. And then go back to the MacBook Pro product page. Isn't this the MacBook Pro product page? I don't know why Apple's spending so much resources getting Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk 2077. They should be invested on spending multiplayer games like GTA Online and Valorant for network effect. I agree that the games that we need on the Mac are really going to be... I wouldn't say that they are multiplayer games. I think that live service games that are continually updated, and then... Okay, this is the order page. Okay, is this the product page, Hanley? Because I cannot find any more info here. MagSafe cable. Performance. So this is the buy page. Go back to home and start there. Okay, such a noob. You'd think that all this stuff would come on the actual product page as you're buying it. You know, when you really need to know what's the hell's going on. That's a cool animation. Let's see that again. That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. Ugh. Oh, here we got a tech spec bookmark here. Ah, here we are. So according to this, there are basically 4 variants of the Pro N chips. Okay, this makes it slightly easier. So let's look. Duplicate tab. Actually, that's all of them, isn't it? That's no. That's not all of them. Let's duplicate tab and have a look. So there's 14-inch and there's 16-inch. Okay, so there's okay. So I'm trying to. This is like making me go cross-eyed. Okay. Could you buy the Atlan says, can you buy the 1420 instead of the 1216? You could compare the performance between the 1020 and 40 core GPUs to see if the performance scales linear with the cores. 10, 20, and 40. Oh, that's an idea. Poof, that's an idea, Atlan. 10, 20, 40. That's like a beautiful comparison video. 10, 20, 40 GPU cores. So let me just put this to the side. So we've got the base M4 with 10 GPU cores. Then we've got the M4 Pro, which is the higher end chip, right? And then you've got the higher end M Max chip. So it's going low, high, high, which is interesting. But the problem with going low, high, high is that most people don't really buy the higher end Pro. They buy this one, the M4, for sure. Okay, they definitely buy the M4 for sure. The base M4. They don't. Let me just see. So let's say I want to buy an M4. I have to buy a 14-inch, and there's only one SKU for like 10 and 10 core GPU CPU. There's one CPU config, right? This is unlike the iMacs, which you can get lower end versions. Because the iMac, right? Let me see. The iMac. With the iMac, you can buy. I'm pretty sure you can buy the 8-core GPU. Is that right? You can buy 8-core CPU and GPU, which is going to be different. Okay. So I wonder what the MacBook Air is going to look like for the M4. So we could do 10, 20, 40. That is an idea. That's a very interesting idea. 10, 20, 40. Because I'm going to buy the 40 anyway, so that I can compare with my current M3 Max, which has the same amount of RAM and GPU cores, right? And it would be interesting to see whether the GPU score. This is like an inspired idea, Atlan. Thank you very much for suggesting this. Hanley Leung. What do I do with the Macs? So I'm going to be spending a crap ton of money on Macs, and thanks to Apple's extremely generous returns policy, I'm going to return all of them, I think, after I've done some extensive testing with them. Yeah. So I'll get about 3 weeks or so with them. It's kind of awkward too because I'm about to move house as well next week. So hopefully I'll have enough time to get all of this done. Just at the same time. So, okay, if we're going to do 10, 20, 40 GPU cores, let's select the crap that I want to buy. Not crap, of course, but extremely useful stuff. Okay, so we're going to buy this one. This is just for my notes. So this is the... Yeah, so this doesn't change. So I'm going to get the this one here. I've got this little note box next to my face, right? So I'm going to buy that one. And then but instead of the let's say M4 Pro, I want to test an M4 Pro. So I've got these two options. Let's say the 16. Yeah, I've got these two options. So I could have chosen. So if I go M4 Pro, I could have chosen the 16 core GPU. There's a 20 core GPU, but the base model of the M4 Pro with a 16-inch is also 20 core. So the question is, do I want a 16-inch or a 14-inch? Doesn't really matter. What matters is the delivery time. So as long as they deliver on the 8th of November, that's fine. These are all base configurations. So I'll get the so I'm gonna write down the model numbers here. 14-inch, and then I'm just making my notes. I'm gonna get the 16-inch with 14 and 20 GPU cores. So if you look here, I'm making notes here. That's what I'm doing right now. And so this one is the higher end model, okay? And then here, I'm going to be doing the 48 the M4 Max. I'm going to do this one, 16 core CPU, 20 core GPU, 1 terabyte of SSD, which just looks good to me. It would have been nice, you know, you're spending £2,899 on a behemoth, and you've only got 512 gigabytes of solid state drive storage. A bit of a joke. Okay, so I've got those in the back. Okay, buy an iPod Touch. Thanks, Mac Pro Tips. Yeah, ray tracing cores interesting. Is it unethical to return used products to a company making money off effectively not have to pay for anything? JB Nelson, is it unethical? I own so many Apple products. They make a lot of money from me. If they wanted to stop me doing it, they could have just stopped me at any time. I've been expecting a phone call from the company for years, telling me stop returning my crap, stop buying new MacBooks and returning them. But I honestly think I just did think Apple just don't care, right? They make so much money, and the fact is that I do buy Apple products. I own 4 Macs. I've owned 4 Apple Silicon Macs. I've owned literally dozens of MacBooks in the past, iMacs, Mac Minis, etc. And I think that a generous returns policy is part of the kind of the charm of this this company. Is the fact is that you feel confident buying expensive Apple products, and you sometimes you don't know whether it's right for you. But you have the confidence knowing that there's an extremely strong chance that if you're unhappy at all, then you can return it. Now, if anyone out there is watching and wants to get in touch with me, and if you work for Apple and you want to give me a free Mac of some kind, then I will be happy to take it. I'm for sale for sure. You want me to give me a Mac pre-release? Let me go to one of these hands-on events. I'd love to go, but no one has ever reached out to me, and so it would be really cool to be part of that YouTuber universe. But I'm not there yet. So until then, I also think Apple don't really like me using the game porting toolkit in the way that I do, and also encouraging things like game emulation. I think that if I was like an Apple kind of authorized influencer, someone like iJustine or Linus Tech Tips or something, where they actually send tech to the YouTubers, then I don't think they would like what I do with the Macs, because I do unauthorized things like installing Asahi Linux to run Windows games on a Mac. And yeah, Pi Studios, they need to sponsor me. The thing is that they don't really need to sponsor me, because I'm already like I'm already doing that for free. So what's the point of sponsoring me? But I would like some early access sometimes. But also what I found running this YouTube channel for 4 years now, as a kind of a job, right, is that a lot of these things are not getting early access to stuff isn't very important to me because it's getting things at the same time as other people is really, really important because it means that I can make tests and do tutorial videos and things at the same time as other people. Like a tutorial video for a pre-release item is just useless, and I'm not that good at like hyping up preview products necessarily. I like to know what things are possible in the hands of end users and customers like right now. Yeah. Hanley, my friend is on the list. Andy too. Is that someone's name? Yeah. I think it's yeah, it will be interesting. If anyone's from Apple is watching, get in touch. Comment, hit me up in the Discord. Okay, so I've got my list of MacBooks that I'm gonna get. Almost dropped my mouse. I got using my lovely Logitech M3 Master. If I got pre-release stuff, I can make a tutorial. Okay, the thing about tutorials, right, is that basically, right, I'm a fraud. Okay, I personally, I barely know how to do anything on my own. The reality is that the content that I make is really about taking things which people, right, people much more intelligent than me, put together these incredible tools and products like Crossover, like retro game emulators, things like building an operating system from scratch. And all that I do is like I'm just interested, right? I'm not particularly technical or skilled. I just put it together and I demonstrate that it can work and how to get it to work on your own machine. So I don't feel like I do all that much. And so if you gave me a pre-release product, right? And yeah, I could test the stuff that I do, um, that I enjoy doing. Like I like the stuff that exists already. Run Windows games on it, run through games with Crossover, run the native ARM app games, etc. I could do all of that stuff, right? But when it comes to like cutting edge stuff, you know, it really needs to be in their hands, right? So the M4 Mac should, Apple should be shipping some M4 Mac Minis and stuff. I know that the SI team, they love their desktop Macs. They should be sending them these Macs to them. They could like do their sprinkle their magic on it, and then I'll come in and have a look at what they've done, and that's basically what I do, right? Yeah, I'm an influencer basically, and but I'm not a creator. I'm creative in the sense that I make videos, but I don't create anything, right? In the sense that I'm not there like programming anything or making any of the stuff happen. What I'm doing is adding a kind of a layer of communication on top, right? Um, Trying to make the nerdy stuff like a little bit more valuable to the standard end user. And I think for me anyway, like a lot of the tutorials that I make, um, I think a normal person that they want to get one game working on their Mac, if they just follow my tutorial, as long as it's a fairly recent one, they'll get to that end result, and they don't need to know about any of this other crap that comes up, all the news and all the developments. They don't need to. They don't really understand. They just click, follow the video tutorial, and they get a game working, which is nice. So I think that's where I am. I don't need a relationship with Apple because I'll be able to buy the stuff, and they have such a fantastic, lovely, jubbly kind of returns policy that it doesn't really matter. It would just be nice to be acknowledged. That's all. I guess that would be nice. I would like to be invited to a thing. Then I'll know I've made it. Once I go to a thing, I'll have made it. Okay, good. So the next thing is that I'm gonna bloody do some. I need a Mac. I need a Mac Mini to test. Okay, because I think that the Mac Mini. Hey, chat. Which one do you think is more popular, Mac Minis or let's start a poll. I've never done a poll. I was thinking like, how do we do a poll? Which is more popular, iMacs or Mac Mini? Okay, I'm doing a poll in the chat, so I'm starting a poll, and vote with your wallets. No, vote with vote vote on your vote on screen now. Which is more popular, iMacs or Mac Minis? Okay, I have a feeling, right, that most people are gonna think that actually Mac Minis are more popular because of the ability to slot into like any kind of desktop arrangement. But in my professional life, right, as a before I did this YouTube channel that much, I used to look at M4. I used to deal with iMacs all the time. Almost all the businesses and offices that I went to, they run iMacs, not Mac Minis. I hardly saw any Mac Minis in my day-to-day Mac home tech support life. Anyway, Secondary State, thank you very much for giving this super chat. How do you think Cyberpunk will run on my M30 core M3 Max? What settings can I do ray tracing and high max as? So the thing is that you can run Cyberpunk 2077 thanks to Crossover and Game Porting Toolkit. I've done so many tests on this on my 20 on Game Porting Toolkit 2.0. You can turn on ray tracing if you have an M3 Max chip. It runs, it like cuts the frame rate in half. Visually, I can't really tell that much. I didn't turn on path tracing. Is there in Cyberpunk? Is there a separate option for path tracing? Yeah, I'm not sure. All right. So it'd be interesting to see what the performance is like. I have no idea what the settings are going to be like. And when Cyberpunk comes out, I will definitely be doing a comparison between the Windows version running through Crossover and how it runs natively. And because in theory, there's a lot of performance improvements that could be made in the game, which are going to take advantage of these the ARM chipset, the Apple Silicon, the benefits of not having to use Rosetta to translate everything, the benefits, the performance benefits of not having to translate from DirectX 12 to Metal, and then we have all the benefits of Metal FX and Metal frame generation, which I'm sure is going to be coming soon. So it'd be really interesting to see that. I'm afraid I can't tell you what settings because I don't have access to the game, but you know what? I do have a relationship with CD Projekt Red because I run the website PC Gaming Wiki. I have relationships with GOG, and maybe I will ask them for a Mac version of Cyberpunk because it's a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal. Okay, so thank you very much, Second City Saint, for that question. It's a really good one. Let's go back to what I was talking about earlier. Okay. So yeah, people are thinking the Mac Mini is more popular. So I've got 110 votes. 75% of people think that the Mac Mini is more popular. Interesting. Okay. So I should probably focus on the Mac Mini, especially because the Mac Mini is definitely the one which is new, right? So let's go back to Mac Mini. Okay, and so I'm gonna be ordering the Mac Mini as well. So hopefully this will still be available to buy for the 8th of November. Yeah, I can still get shipping for the 8th. Okay, so which Mac Mini should I get? Okay, ending the poll here. Thank you very much for participating in the poll. 74% to Mac Mini, iMac gets 25%, so that doesn't add up to 100%, but anyway, you can see in the live chat preview that's what it looks like. Okay, good. So let's look at what we're going to get. So I'm in the mark. So if you look at the chat here, not chat, my notes here. I'm just making some notes here. Okay. Didn't they just announce Cyberpunk on Apple in the MacBook thing? Yes, they did. So if you watch earlier in the stream, you'll see I talked all about it already. All the features, all the stuff. Just scroll back and then look at Cyberpunk. I'm gonna use this as I'm kind of making this stream so that I can actually focus my thoughts a little bit. And I need to buy these bloody Macs fast before the pre-order window goes out the window. Okay, so let me just make some notes. Okay, so I'm gonna buy 2 Mac Minis. Okay, so I'm writing 2 Mac Minis. Seems pretty obvious, right? I'm gonna get the 16 gigabyte, 10 CPU, 10 GPU. There's no other options for the base model anyway. So there's, oh God, let me just write that down, base model. So we've got the M4 base model, right? And then we want the should be writing all chips here. Then we want the M4 Pro models. So there's only one M4 Pro, isn't there? So this is pretty easy. M4 Pro, 12, sorry, 24 GB, 12 CPU, 16 GPU. Okay, that's how I normally write these down. That's the base models. And then what's the 1216 core? Is there a 1216? A Panis. Okay, look. Yeah, that's the 1216. So I'm gonna get, so the 1216 is the M4 Pro chip, and then with the base M4, there's only one CPU GPU configuration. Obviously, you can buy more RAM, but not very particularly interested in that. So that's 600 plus what? 1,400 basically. So that's £2,000 of Mac Minis. Thankfully, I do have equipment already, so I've already own a the 4K screen. It's a really bad one though. Now I can update the Pro Mini to more cores. Let me see. Well, I want it for the 8th. Okay, so yeah, you can. Ah, ships on the 8th as well. Oh, they've got all the configs on the 8th. They must be like shipping it today or something. Look, normally if you if you want to go crazy and put an 8 terabyte solid state drive in here, it still ships for the 8th. There's no thing happening here. Yeah, Thomas McGee, if you have a question, yeah, I already answered this question about benchmarking and testing. I will return most of them. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna stick with the base M4 and then I'm gonna stick with the base M4 Pro for the Mac Minis. So I've got 2 Mac Minis. I'm not gonna try the larger core count. I'm surprised that they all have. Let me just look at them, because in the past, right, I had major issues because I wanted to test out other variants of the MacBook Pro M4, and you couldn't really do that because of the way that if you spec any config, it would just change the date. And I wanted that on the, I wanted it to work on the first day. I want to get the stuff working on the first day. Yeah, see here if I spec a 14-inch with the M3 Max, then it gives me with M4 Max, it tells me between the 8th and the 12th. Here's the 8th to the 12th. So it could come, but not guaranteed. Whereas the Mac Mini's got more configurations, which are just base. So if that's the base model, if I decrease the memory, it still ships on the 8th. So they got stock of this already. It'll only ship on the 8th if it already had stock, right? I'm looking at one too, but money. Yeah. This is expensive stuff, Mac gaming is an expensive hobby. You don't want to be a Mac gamer, really. Okay. So, and I'm going to buy an iMac. Okay. So, what's interesting about this iMac is that it is the only one of the M4s which is going to have an 8-core GPU and CPU. So the rest. So if I look at my notes here, here, right. If I look down here, there, there is no. I'm looking at the base M4 MacBook Pro 14-inch has 10 CPU cores and 10 GPU cores, and then the base M4 Mac Mini has 10 CPU cores and 10 GPU cores. So they should perform the same. They both have active cooling, so they both have fans, so they shouldn't be thermally throttled. Obviously, there's going to be difference in the way the fans work, but they're basically going to be the same. So I don't really see that being particularly different. But if I do test out an iMac, which I intend to do, people buy these and they want to game on them. This will be the only one with that I'll buy with an actual M4 with 8 CPU and 8 GPU cores. So this would be like the low end model, even though it's the budget choice, right, is to buy, if you want to get into the Apple ecosystem, the budget choice is to buy the cheapo Mac Mini. Okay, obviously not 8 terabytes, but not the M4 Pro, but the base Mac Mini. This is a really good option. I mean, this is amazing how what the value proposition of this having a mini PC. Um, this is good. 6599 for that is good. It's great. Okay, it's like extremely good value. I can't really think of better value than this to enter the Mac ecosystem. The only thing better would be to get like a MacBook Air. I mean, personally, I think MacBook Airs are amazing. Okay, but then you get a screen and a keyboard and a trackpad. You have less storage. Well, this is M3. No, I want M4. Of course, we don't have an M4 MacBook Air yet. That's right. Probably gonna wait another 3 or 4 months for that to happen. Because this only came out like 7 months ago. It's interesting. I'm expecting that the M4 model is going to be the same. Okay, which is interesting. I hope there's an M4 Ultra or M4 Extreme early next year. What's the Extreme? Is there an what's the Extreme? Have I just forgotten there's another model? Is there a model M2 Extreme? Yeah, there's no Extreme. Ultra is the one. Yeah, that never happened. Okay. To be honest, right, the naming scheme is all wrong. It should. I hate the naming scheme of this of the thing, because like I hate the naming scheme of the Pro because it's so confusing, because you want to buy a MacBook Pro, right? You want to buy a MacBook Pro, and then you can have a MacBook Pro but without the Pro chip, or you can buy a MacBook Pro with the M4 Pro chip, and that's just very confusing. Number one. Number two, in terms of like superlatives, good, better, best, right? The max should be the ultimate maximum, right? Nothing should surpass maximum. But they decided the ultra is the one above a maximum. Whereas it should be the opposite. It should be M4 Pro, should be M4 Pro, M4 Ultra, and then M4 Max should be the one at the end, not the other way around. That's just a language thing. It's just very annoying. It'll be very interesting to see what the M4 Ultra will look like in the new Mac Studio when it comes out, because the M2 Ultra had a lot of issues running Cyberpunk through, had loads of issues running Hogwarts and Cyberpunk through translation layers like Game Porting Toolkit. Linus Tech Tips had loads of issues running that on their M1 Ultra. So the M1 Ultra and the M2 Ultra both have problems running games, certain types of games. I'm not sure what that is. Ugh. Okay. Tim Cook has not spent much time in game graphics menus, it seems. Yeah. Ultra means above. Ultra is beyond max. Is it? What does ultra actually mean? I never actually really thought about it. Ultra. An extremist. What's the etymology? Etymology. Beyond in Latin, meaning of outside the norm. Extreme, ultra. Ultra. Ultra, beyond. They must have had a lot of meetings about this. Pi Studios, do you think Apple would ever do their own dedicated GPU on their Macs, or it'll all be on one die? It will all be on one die. They will never do. I get asked this question so many times. They're never going to do, as long as this option exists, right? To increase your GPU cores to some maximum. That's all people ever need. They don't need there's only really two workflows really. You render locally up to a certain level, and if you need more, you render on a server farm somewhere, right? That's there's no need for an external GPU really. Like if you think about what an external GPU, what an additional GPU is for, it's just not. I don't think it's in the workflow at all, right? Either you're working on a feature film where there's like a render farm somewhere on site or in the cloud somewhere, or you're just doing bits and pieces on your local machine, right? And if you need something powerful, you just buy the ultra variant of the chip with like 60 GPU cores. That's probably enough. And if it's not enough, then you have your company or whatever gets like a render farm somewhere. So external GPU is not happening. If they were going to do external eGPU support or third-party GPU support, they would have added it in the Pro version of the Mac Pros, right? Because the last Mac Pro had like what 6 or 7 PCIe slots, which were basically useless because you can only use them for like audio interfaces or Thunderbolt interfaces. You couldn't install a graphics card in them. It's pretty useless. Andy Nath says, Asahi Linux could one day do eGPU. That's true. I think that they have their work cut out for them if they want to do that. Sadly, not for the next year. I don't have HDMI support yet. Yeah, they don't have proper USB-C HDMI support for Asahi Linux. So maybe once they implement that, they get M4 support, Asahi Linux might be there. M4 Ultra will have 80 GPU cores and 1 terabyte memory bandwidth. Yeah, probably. Does Asahi Linux have a Thunderbolt driver? No, they do not. Okay, good. So I've got an idea of what Macs I'm going to buy. I'm not going to buy it right now on camera because I need to enter my details. But let's pretend that I am going to buy them. I'm just going to figure out how much it costs. Okay, so buying this Mac Mini. I want to get the iMac as well because it comes with I want to check out the new USB-C interfaces. Okay, so one Mac Mini. Okay, so I'm going to buy the Mac Mini Pro. M4 Pro. This is only one model. I'll buy the base model of that. Keep trying to sell me Apple Studio Display. This terrible, terrible display. Okay, then. I just want to find out how much this all costs. So I'm going to buy all these Macs, and then it's going to put a real dent. I just bought a house as well. Okay, so tomorrow I'm doing the completion. Oh, went the wrong way. I'm trying to buy this iMac pre-order. I want to buy the base model. What color should I get? Okay, this is important. What color? There are so many colors. Blue, purple, pink, orange, yellow, green, and silver. Pink. Should get a pink one. Oh my god, I don't want a pink one. My poll thing can't do more than my YouTube poll thing. Let me see how many options I can add. Can I add 4 options? What kind of poll only has 4 options? Let me see. Okay, we've got. That's a lot of colors. Blue is the winner. Thank you, Hanley. Yes, it's been a long time coming. Offered on this property in April, and completion is only tomorrow. So it's quite exciting. I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow in the morning because I'm very eagerly awaiting to getting the keys. All of the exchange stuff, all the bank stuff, taken care of that already. But super stressful, like trying to get one of each color. Okay, guys, which color is the fastest? Do you think? Which iMac color is going to make the thing go vroom? Which one's going to go vroom faster? Right? Okay, so blue. Is blue a fast color? I think blue's a fast color. I think purple is a slow color. It's like a dreamy color. You might fall asleep in it. Pink is... pink will keep me awake, but it's not... It's annoying. Orange. I think it's either blue or silver for me. Blue or silver. Green. Oh my god, green. These are like new colors, aren't they? Green. Green, obviously, don't need to ask. Green. White absorbs less heat, better thermal performance. That is true. No. White is worse, isn't it? Because it holds the energy in. Like I remember my physics teacher at school telling me that all radiators should be black because that radiates heat better. right? So in theory, radiating heat out, it depends which is hotter. Normally a computer in the internals are hotter. You're trying to vent temperature out, right? It's only a problem if your ambient temperature is more hotter than the internals of a computer. I think silver would be better. Silver with racing stripes. I think that's probably right. Racing stripes. Red is faster and fasted. Green is the new white. Okay, I'm not planning to keep these. Okay, so I think another factor is like which one's gonna pop on camera. You know, because I'm gonna put this on. Let me look at this properly. Okay, like oh, they do. The website design is amazing. Like, how do you get them to do this? This animation is so cool, and it's all in all done on mobile and on desktop. It looks beautiful. These new vibrant colors, eh? Silver, yellow, pink. Oh, I can play on the center stage camera too. Oh, this blue looks good. And the accessories are blue too. Except this is silver. Is the mouse just silver and the keyboard's different color? I like to have a black keyboard. I like the new. I like one thing I like. So I use this Logi. All my keyboards are the Logi keyboard. I don't know. These are amazing. I love these, right? But what I hate about it with well, I want to buy a proper Mac keyboard, right? Now that it has USB-C, I can buy it now, okay? Because this thing is great for like pairing. So you have the MX Mini, right? And the MX full size. You have like pairing buttons here, right? You can hold up the 3 pairing devices. But when you're testing the MX Keys Mini, that's right. Thanks, Lorenzo. MX Keys Mini, and I've got the MX Key Logic MX Anywhere 3S, which is great too. Okay. But what's annoying when you're testing a lot of different Mac devices is that you have to repair them, switch between different Macs. What's cool about also another slightly annoying thing is that it takes like about 2 seconds for the keyboard to wake from sleep and then reconnect to your Mac, which is okay. Which just doesn't sound like a big deal. It's not a big deal, right? But it is a big deal for me because when I want to do something on my Mac and I step away from my desk for a bit, I want to get back straight into it. What's cool about the Apple keyboards is that number one, pairing is so easy. You just plug in the cable, the lightning cable in the past, and then it just pairs automatically, and they'll just remain paired even when you take off the cable, which is extremely fast. I hate faffing with the system. I hate faffing with the Logi keys, even though it can store 3 devices. It's annoying. Okay, and then secondly, it wakes instantly to your Mac when you click on the keyboard, and that's why I'm going to get one at some point. So I'll test this out with the iMac. I do not like the keyboard colors, to be honest. So maybe I will just get a white one, which is very boring. Okay. Oh yeah, they did get rid of the 18 gigabyte versions dice roll manifest. That is a good point. That is a good enough point for me to add into my list of things. Let me just add that in to my list. But 18 gigabyte 18 gigabyte models gone, replaced by 16 gigabytes for MVP. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't really think about that. Thank you very much, Dice Roll Manifest, and we'll mention that in my video. RTX. Okay, so I'm gonna buy. Let me see. We're gonna buy this iMac. Did I add this to the? No, I didn't add this. Oh, deciding on colors. Yeah. I'm gonna be boring and buy silver. No, I have to buy one, which signifies it's the new one. Now green. Okay, blue. Boring blue for me. Okay, 256. Yeah, these people don't. These Macs are not like iPhones, right? Where it's like, oh, you have to like get this straight away. they're always if as long as I order it today in the next like half an hour after my buy green. Seriously, buy green. Okay. Maybe I will buy green. Okay, got. Still deciding. You're making me second guess my iMac purchases. Okay, God. Okay, guys. Okay. This is an incentive for everyone watching in chat. Okay. This is a chance for one of you to make a substantial impact on my videos. Okay. This is a chance for anyone watching right now. Okay. The next person who super chats me one of the colors of this iMac, I will just buy that iMac like right now. The first person that super chats any amount of money saying a color, green, yellow, pink, orange, pink, purple, blue, and silver, I will buy that one today. Not right now, but I'll buy it today, and it'll be in the iMac video. Okay. So if someone chooses the hideous orange one, then that's the one I'm buying. If they super chat me right now. Okay. So you have until the end of this live stream to figure that out. Okay. Then let me add my my next one. So I need to buy the MacBooks. So guys, anyone who wants to influence the outcome of this YouTube channel, buy the green. Okay. Pi Studios, your wish is my command. So blue it is. Blue it is. Thank you very much. Sorry, Crazy Vlogs. You're too. Oh my god. Too late. Green. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Crazy Vlogs, and thank you very much, Pi Studios. You both chose green, so I'm gonna feel better about buying the green one. Okay, so I will add the green one. I'm not buying it right now, but I'm buying it today. Okay, so I will do that. Now, green is not the color that I was gonna choose. Like seriously, that's not the color I was gonna go for. But I will get that. And okay, so I need the MacBooks now. Now this is less contentious. I don't really care that much about the MacBook colors. I do regret getting the black one for my M3 Max a bit because it doesn't really pop on screen very well. But I'm gonna get, let me see, an M4. So I'm getting the 10 GPU M4. Let's get the cheapest one. And then I need 16 gigabytes of memory. I just want the base model. Blah, blah, blah. Is there no color option? Is this just black now? Didn't you have colors? Oh yeah, you got colors. Silver or black. Silver for plain, I think. Silver. Okay. Okay, silver. And then, okay, that's the silver one. And then we need, then I need a 16-inch M4 Pro. I got this one in black, 20 core. So this is the 20 core one, isn't it? 14 and 20, 14 and 20. Yeah, 2500. An error has occurred. I'm trying to buy stuff. Come on, guys. This is like the one thing that your store should do is buy crap. Okay, I'm not customizing this. Okay, to wait for this website. Come on, Apple. Okay, I'm gonna get 16-inch M4 Max. And got this in silver because I got a black one already. I need a visual way to distinguish them. I'm eating a... Do you know what this is? Let me know in chat. Do you know what this is? If you know what this is, then type in chat what you think this is. What kind of bread product this is. I'd be interested in if any of you know. I think that's Swedish traditional bread. Well, it could be. It could be that's what it could be based on. But it might. It could be Swedish traditional bread. I mean, it is not a traditionally Western bread. Let me put it that way. What's the filling made of? Hanley, that is a very good guess. It is a pineapple bun, but it does not contain red bean. It's not red bean. What's the other red treat? Chinese treat. Is it Taiwanese? Can you guess what it is? In this tiny screen, it's really hard to see in a tiny screen. It is a pineapple bun. So it's called a pineapple bun because Hong Kong people thought this looked like this egg wash on top, and it makes it look like a pineapple. Yes, Hanley, it is a ball of cha bao or feng li cha sao bao. Feng li cha sao bao, yeah. Hanley, I'm assuming that you're Chinese, right? Yeah, this is it's an extremely unhealthy sweet, delicious char siu bun. Okay. Holy crap, 11,400. An American Hong Kong resident, yeah. In Hong Kong now. I wonder how much these... Can you buy Macs in Hong Kong right now? Because I remember in Taiwan, right, you couldn't buy an M3 Max until several months after the actual release. It's not a sponsored deal. This is not sponsored deal. This is my money. And holy shit. £11,400. My wife's looking at me like I'm crazy. £11,400 I'm gonna spend on this.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm not sure you can spend that.
No, it's mine. Get back. Okay. Holy shit. That's so much. That's like a whole max worth of VAT. That's our sales tax. Okay, wait. I'm just gonna triple check that I've. Okay, so this is the. Let's double check this. I'm gonna buy it now, but I won't do it on screen. I'll hide my screen. 48 gigabyte, 40. Okay, it's 40 GPU at M3 Max. I hate that they didn't show that this is the correct one. M4 Max, right? M4 Pro with 20 GPU cores. M4 Base with 10 GPU cores. Green iMac, courtesy of our Crazybox and Pi Studios. Thank you very much for voting green, voting with your wallets. The green iMac base model with 8 GPU cores and 8 CPU cores. The Mac Mini with the M4 Pro chip, the base model of that. And then the Mac Mini with that, with the base, the 10 GPU cores and 10 CPU cores. Okay, so, I'm gonna figure out what I'm supposed to do. Do I return the products? I'm returning all these bad boys. I can't resell these. Okay, good. I'm gonna hide my screen while I do this, so none of you, so I don't dox myself. Okay, let's make this bigger to while I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm gonna do the very boring thing of my finger will complete the transaction. If these don't arrive on time, I'll be so pissed off. Okay. Should I? I think it's too heavy for me to pick up, so I'm gonna get this all delivered. Okay. It's green eco-friendly. They're talking about how eco-friendly all the packaging is now, despite the fact of being completely gouged. Okay, it's got my address, phone number. Get my credit card out. Well, can you pass me my wallet, please? Thank you. It's my wallet. Okay. Wallet time. Money time. 11K. Holy crap. 492. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm actually sounding up the numbers of my card, which is not a good thing. Mm. Okay, guys, I'm making a £11,400 transaction. Let me check my numbers are correct. Shipping. Silver space silver, green iMac, Mac Mini. Paying, place my order. Order placed. Okay, hopefully my bank is gonna like tell me something's gone wrong. Okay, payment verification. Could this be a scam? Is the website you're paying on secure? Does it start with HTTPS and does it have a closed padlock symbol? I had this a lot when I was doing the deposit payment for my house. They kept the woman at the bank was like, "Are you sure this isn't a scam? Are you double checked? Is this the correct conveyancing lawyer? Is this everything correct?" And she asked me a lot of questions like, "Oh, so what do you do for a living?" Which is obviously not a question that really pertains to it. But like, "Oh yeah, I said to her, I own several online businesses. And then she's like, "Oh, really? What kind?" It's like, "Oh, I do some websites, YouTube." And she's like, "Oh, so you're an influencer." Am I an influencer? I'm sort of an influencer, but okay. So this, I can show you this. Okay, this is the. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. I'll put this on too. Oh my god, so much! It's so much money. It's ridiculous. The amount that's coming out of my bank account. Mm. I mean, when you spend this much, it's like, oh my god, it's kind of crazy. Approved. Approval successful. It makes me nervous, like spending this much. Okay, so I'm not going to show you my actual screen. No, I will show you my screen, but okay, we're back, and let me just. Okay, so we are getting, yeah, Green iMac. Mac Mini. So yeah, purchased. That's one piece of stress done. Okay, good. So finally got it done. Okay, so I've got all my stuff here. Let me just make my notes again. Okay, so I'm gonna make my video today about the stuff that I've ordered. Chat, do I go and buy it? Yeah, influencer should suffice. But I think she was just trying to feel out like what I do because it was a large had a large deposit to transfer, like a really large amount, in addition to my mortgage. And I think she was just surprised, like, what do I do in order to like afford that? I'm close this window so I don't dox myself by accident. Okay. Yeah, I've got two 16-inch MacBook Pros and I've got the 14-inch because that's the only version that you can buy the M4 and you can't buy you can't buy a 16-inch MacBook Pro with the base M4, and I really want to test that. How does it feel to be used vehicle lighter? Not sure what that means. It's interesting buying all these Macs, testing them, and I might keep one. So when I did this test, like three years ago now with the M1 Max, I did not expect to keep the M1 Max, but I liked it so much. It was such a good video editing machine. I loved it. But now I'm gonna build some. Yeah. What's the point of Thunderbolt 5? Well, there's a guy I talked to called Mystical OS. To make sure to check out his YouTube channel. He does a lot of was dev work on a Mac, and he's saying that he maxes out his Thunderbolt 4 connection, just doing stuff like display capture, capture cards and cameras and stuff. There is a demand for Thunderbolt 5. I personally don't see it, especially because I use a streaming PC to stream what I'm doing now, and also streaming on my Macs as well. So it's not a big deal for me, but I know a lot of people find that a big deal to see that. Let's turn on my Mac there. Okay, what else are we going to discuss? Is there anything else to talk about? Are there any other new games which have come out? I'm just going to catch up on my stuff here. Any information? Anything interesting? Yeah, Thunderbolt is not the problem with the eGPU. Somebody needs to write drivers. I think that's true, yeah. Are you not worried about overheating with Apple making Mac Mini chassis so small? Well, I saw the video about the Mac Mini was quite interesting, just about like the thermal design of it is quite interesting. Just get my video out. Where's the Mac Mini one? The thermal performance. The thermal design of it is quite cool. Did they have the images anywhere? I'm confident that they'll do fine. I mean, they've only messed up the Mac Pro in the past. That was pretty bad with the trash can one, which they try to like unify, the fans. What is the fan thing? They've got some like great like websites, but they don't have much information about the where's the thermals? Let me see. Mac Mini thermals. Where's the performance stuff about thermals? I remember seeing like a video which is demonstrating that it doesn't have a heatsink. Like this thing, the way that the air flows between the power supply at the top and then the logic board's here, and then the fan array is here. And there isn't a proper heatsink, which is quite interesting. Yeah, hey Retin. In England, I bought the M3 Pro 18 gigabytes of RAM, 11 core, 18 core GPU for roughly 1,900. They're saying the M4 Pro is 1,800 with the education scene. Yeah, I wouldn't feel ripped off too much. Your M3 Pro is probably going to perform very similarly. I mean, it depends what you do with it, but it's probably not that much difference. The Mini has a heatsink, but like not a very big one. Where's all the stuff about the heatsink? Normally they have. In the MacBook Airs, it traditionally, in the last cycle, the M3 MacBook Air came out like 6 months after the MacBook Pros. So they only released an M3 MacBook Air in March, like 7 months ago. So, you know, these things come in cycles, I suppose. Where's the website for the Mac Mini? Where's it gone? Where's the bit? There's like a thing where it shows you. It shows you all of the thermal kind of diagrams. Okay, good. Well, it's been a very interesting stream today. Thank you all for helping me to choose my Macs and spending £11,500 on Macs. It's definitely helped discussing this with all of you. I'm going to put together a little video about what we've put together today. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to do a live stream. I think I'm going to do a topic. The first link on Google shows it. I hate these like reblogging things. Thank you all for letting me spend 11k. Thank you. It is a privilege to be able to spend £11,000 on Macs that I won't keep. But it's okay. Tomorrow I'm going to do a live stream, and one topic that I want to cover before the M4 Macs come out is whiskey. I think whiskey would be interesting. So a lot of people ask me about whiskey, why I don't make videos about it. And what I thought would be interesting would be to see, you know, what the difference is between whiskey and crossover, and how they perform, and what the difference is. And you know, that made me realize that I've actually never installed whiskey before, so to play Windows games. So I might do one on that tomorrow, and then discuss the differences in levels of wine, what games are compatible, not compatible, and then take it from there. So I might do that, and the purpose of that is kind of take my mind off things, because I'm gonna get the keys to the new house tomorrow. It's an unknown and what time that will happen, so I'll probably stream from like 9 a.m. UK time to like about 11 or 12. Haven't decided yet. I'm trying to do like a regular Thursday UK slot in the mornings. See how it goes. So I'd like to keep that. It might be a short one, so it might be just like an hour or two. Just testing out some games on Windows games on whiskey and stuff, and install it for the first time. Get some B-roll for that. It also depends on how I feel, because I'm gonna spend a couple of hours writing this video and then putting it together. Anyway, thank you very much for joining this live stream. Thanks for everyone staying for such a long period of time and helping to make these decisions. I got to go pick up my daughter from her play date now, make sure she's okay. Thank you for watching. I'm going to schedule the live stream later, and I'll make a video about everything that we've discussed today. It's hard to say goodbye, but thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Good night.